So, quick recap for myself for today. So, I did a number of trades. One of the things I've been experimenting with is just at the opening range, take very small positions and scalp. So, only like 100 shares or whatnot. I did that here with IQ, and obviously this trade here didn't work out. Right, I went long, it dropped, and then I exited for a small loss. So that's what I did here on this trade. And then in the opening range breakdown, I saw that it was going down, and so I set my stop loss here. You can see here I put my stop loss here at the 1 minute mark, and then once it hits below the VWAP, I started to cover. So I short covered. So that was one trade. Another one is I went short again, and then I covered immediately. But then I was hoping that it would continue this trend, and maybe even break this moving average. It did not. It popped up, so I covered at pretty much break even. I waited, and then when on the next 1 minute it dropped again, I tried to short. It popped back up. And then I exited, seeing that it was getting stronger, and which it did because it started to have this run up. And so what I did here was I waited for it to hit above VWAP, but I was looking at some other stocks, so I kind of missed this run here. I would have entered here, set my stop loss here, but instead I entered here on the next 1 minute high. And then I basically just sold towards, as it moved up, I sold. And the reason is why I pretty much exited all my position here is because I saw that it was on the level 2, it was getting weak. So this is another trade. So that's one, two, three, four, five trades already. And then here I saw that it was going at at the time, I think it was at this high of the day. And then so basically at the 9:55 mark, see what I did, 9:53, 9:53, so I bought, thinking that this is just a retracement, and it was not. It was going down. So when I saw it was short, I exit again, pretty much break even, and then it dropped. This one I short, hoping it'll break this moving average. It popped up, hit my stop loss, so I exited. And then I kind of followed it, and then once it starts to break this moving average, and pretty much once it breaks this moving average, this other one, it was gonna break as well. And if it breaks pretty much all the moving averages, it was gonna drop. So I went in pretty heavy here, and I mean this is all one play. And then I just started covering. I think I took 1,500 shares, and then I kind of was all out. It bounced back up again, tested VWAP, never broke it, and then it dropped below this moving average. And then so when I saw that happening, and let's see where it corresponds to. I think it corresponds to this level over here. When that happened, I just shorted it, and then I started to cover. So that's another play here. So I went back in, I shorted again, and then I covered. And then with IQ, I actually kept on trading it. So then what happened was I waited for the pullback. Then it did a reversal. It moved up. I thought it was going to continue this trend, which it ultimately did. So I went long. It popped up. I covered, and then when it dropped back down, I covered. I didn't want to give back my my winnings. So that's another trade here. I saw that it went up. It couldn't continue to make another 1 minute high. It dropped below this moving average and this moving average. So when that happened, I put a stop loss here, I short, and pretty much covered, and then covered for break even. Went above VWAP, and so that's when I went long again. Once it breaks VWAP, I'll set my stop loss here. Broke this moving average. I basically held some shares, and then I started to cover towards the high, and then that's when it broke down again, and that's when I stopped playing it because I realized that it was most likely going to swing back and forth around VWAP at this time, and so that's my play for IQ. The next stock that I did, which I didn't do too well, was SRE. So for SRE, I did the same thing as IQ. So the thing that I've been trying to do is basically do a very small scalp of some the opening range, the 1 minute, right? So this, I saw that it was opening strong, so I basically went in long, and then I covered right away because I know that this is going to be very volatile, right? So that's just and then I got $41. So even out with the loss more or less that I had on IQ. And then here I took very small position. I took, I think, 200 shares, 100 shares of SRE. It broke down below VWAP. And then I saw that it broke this moving average as well. Basically what I waited for is it broke VWAP, and I waited for the next 5 minutes for confirmation. At that point, it seemed like it was going to continue to make lower lows. So I went short, but then it popped up. So it popped through my stop loss, and then I covered right away on the 1 minute. I did the same thing again. I saw that it couldn't break VWAP. It started to go down. So I short again, but this time I got stop out pretty bad. It popped up, and I think that what I was doing at the time was playing another stock or whatnot, and so good thing I took a small position, but even then it was still a $334 loss. Should have respected my stop loss, should have set it here. So that was completely my fault, and it's a dangerous move. And I think that's why I stopped playing SRE. Just how volatile and unpredictable it is. I expected it to drop below the VWAP. Below this moving average, head towards this one, but that didn't happen. So it is what it is. PCG. Yeah, this is a quick play. It cost me $42 though. So it was making higher highs. Broke through VWAP, consolidated. I thought it was going to bull flag, which it actually eventually did. 39.80, 39.2. But it dropped back, and I just got chickened out. I really didn't want this to run against me. So that's at 39.3. So it would have been a nice 50-cent move, but I stopped myself out too quickly. I don't know if I would have done anything differently. Let's see how many shares I took of that PCG 600 shares. So I think next time maybe you should have kept the stop loss here. $0.20 stop loss, 600 shares, so that'd be $120. $120. for $300. So risk reward would have been pretty good because I would have $120 would have went for the moving average up here. It's 39.8. So 1, 2, 3. That would have been a pretty good risk to reward because this would be my risk, and then this would be my reward. So 1, 2, 3. But anyway, got stopped out. So and then Lam Research. So this is the other stock that I played. So I started following the stock at around 10:30ish. And I did a few moves on Lam Research. So the first one was sort of a bust. I thought this area here was just consolidation. It looked pretty weak. So after this consolidation, it started to break down again. Once it broke this moving average, I thought it was going to continue to go down, right? Because on the 5-minute, you see it is already broken all this moving averages, broke VWAP. I thought it was going to continue to go down. So I shorted the stock, but obviously it went up. So I got stopped out. So this is one play. So I just exit my position. And then what happened was then it continued to move up. And then so I thought that, okay, maybe this is a reversal and not just a retracement. So I went long, and then I think I added more here, and then I just exited. I think the level 2 looked kind of bad, so I didn't really make any money here, or maybe a little, which was kind of okay because there was a pullback. So it never broke this moving average, and it dropped back down. So what I did again was I shorted the stock below this moving average, added more, and then I basically got stopped out. So that's the third play. And then what happened was now I saw that the stock was, pretty much getting stronger, and it was moving back up. And so I waited for it to start to break this moving average, and I can use that as support. So at 10:45ish, so probably around here, I saw that it wasn't able to make a new 5-minute low. Here it started to break this moving average, so I went long. And then as it broke this moving average, I kind of waited to see what it would do. It dropped, and then it popped up. So when it popped up, I sold some, and then when it dropped, I was afraid it was going to continue to drop down, so I sold the remainder of my position at that point. And it's consolidated for another minute, and then it popped up. So when it popped up, what I saw again at this juncture here was that, okay, now it sort of popped up, it consolidated, it popped up. This looks like a bull flag to me. And then on top of that is, if you look at from the open, it basically just dropped from 187-ish all the way down to 183. That's a $4 drop. So it's a pretty big consistent drop, and guys probably need to start covering. So that's when I thought, okay, this is probably a reversal, and not just a retracement. And so I bought here. And then I started to sell. And the reason why I sold towards this level, and I basically held it through all of this, is because this is a previous day close. And a lot of times is the stock, especially when it gets so close to it, it's going to try to break the previous day close. So I knew I had a shot at that level. So I started selling at, I think the previous day close was at 184.80. At 184.75, I started selling. I held some for when it pops above it, because usually it would just try to go above it and test it, and then I exit the remainder at above that level, which is kind of what it did. Is it tested it, broke down below it, and then tested it again, and then it ran up above it. And so now it's just sort of oscillating around the previous day close. And so that's what I did with Lam Research. So overall, 549. So my goal right now is to be above 500 per day. So I met that goal, and I'm going to stop now. The two critiques for myself for today. One is, it's a bad habit of mine, is I exit too early. I always exit too early. A lot of these plays, especially IQ, I could have taken better advantage of the situation if I did not exit as early as I did. This is just, I don't know, this is just bad. I could have held some through this consolidation. Here, I could have held it for it to drop a bit further. I just exit too early for whatever reason. And so it necessitates additional trades. So that leads to my second problem, which is I overtrade a bit because I exit too early. So that's the two problems I need to work on for tomorrow, is don't exit too early and do not overtrade. But I hit my goal. I made it with several small wins, and I'm proud of myself for using the moving averages and so forth. But anyway, so that's my recap for the day.